In this video, I'm taking the cost of living in San Antonio, Texas, and we're breaking it all the way down. I'm talking housing, taxes, utilities, food. Stay tuned because we're getting into it right now. What's going on, family? It's Greg Foster here with Market Boss at eXp Realty right here in San Antonio, Texas. If this is your first time to this channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living, working, eating, chilling, and playing in San Antonio, Texas, then click the subscribe button and tap that little bell so you're notified every time we do a video. And honestly, my team and I, we get calls every single week from people just like you who are looking into San Antonio, Texas. And so if you're thinking about moving anywhere or relocating in the San Antonio area, then give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, however you want to get a hold of us. We've got your back when moving San Antonio, Texas. So apparently the secret's gotten out to the rest of the country that things are pretty good down here in Texas, and it's no wonder why. You know, as far as our economy goes, things have been growing like crazy. We've got new companies coming in, we've got jobs happening, and more importantly, when people look at getting down here, they realize just how affordable it is to live in Texas. Specifically, when you look at San Antonio, our cost of living is about 90% of what the average is for the rest of the country. And that just translates into all kinds of savings for people. Now, if you're coming from the Midwest, or the middle part of the country, you'll find for you it's probably like a lateral move, or things might just be slightly above or slightly below what you're used to paying. But if you're coming from the East Coast or the West Coast states, you're going to get down here and realize that you can get a lot of bang for your buck, especially in San Antonio. So let's look at the elephant in the room and let's talk about housing. Your housing cost is actually the largest part of what the cost of living is for anywhere that you look at. And when you come to San Antonio, there's a wide range of things to choose from. We've got neighborhoods that are brand new construction in master plan communities, on down to neighborhoods that are like mid-century moderns built out in the 50s and 60s with funky architecture and some really cool design. And then if you want to get closer to the city core, we've actually got homes that were built in the early 1900s, 1920s, full of character and history over the last 100 years. And so there's a wide range of things for people to choose from. But if we're going to drill down to what the median cost is here in San Antonio, average sale price on a home that's listed right now on Realtor.com, you're going to find it's about $250,000. Now, the average price per square foot for these homes is going to be right around about $127 a square foot. And so what you'll find for that price of about 250 grand, you're going to be looking at a house that's roughly about 2,000 square feet, maybe a little bit less. Now, we'll get into what those kind of house payments look like here in a little bit, but some things to kind of think about is that the way that San Antonio has been built out and developed, you know, the city started in the core and started to expand out. And so once you get outside Loop 410, you'll find there's going to be some areas that have HOAs, but really once you go further out and you get past 1604, most of those neighborhoods are going to have an HOA. Now, depending on where you are and the size of your neighborhood, what you can probably expect is the HOA cost is going to run you anywhere from $300 to maybe about $600 a year. So on top of what your house payment's going to be, you're going to want to budget anywhere from about $25 to maybe $50 a month, and that's going to pretty much cover your HOA cost. You might have a neighborhood that's got a gated community. You're looking at maybe pools, sports courts, walking trails. There's a lot of different HOAs out there and things that they offer and they don't. And so really it's just going to come down to specifics once you start looking at where you want to be. Now, even though the average sale price here in San Antonio, Texas is about $250,000, there's a wide range of pricing. You've actually got some newer communities that's going to start in the low 200,000s. And then because of the affordability that we have in this area, the luxury market in San Antonio is actually considered to be roughly around $450,000 to $500,000 and up. Now, if you're coming from different parts of the country and that's your average sale price, I think you'd be pretty pleased with what you can get moving to San Antonio. Okay, so that's if you're going to be buying a place, but what if you're going to come here and you're going to rent for a little bit? There's also a really diverse mix of places to rent here in San Antonio too. We've got everything from large apartment complexes to townhomes and condos. We've even got a lot of single family homes and like duplexes and triplexes, that kind of thing. If you're looking for a breakdown, the thing that you'll notice on this graph right here is that a 2-bedroom rental is going to run you about $1,036 a month. A 3-bedroom is going to run you somewhere around about $1,391, and a 4-bedroom rental is going to run you somewhere upwards of about $1,721. So that right there pretty much breaks down as far as what payments are going to be for rentals. But when we look at buying a home, there's some other things that come into play, some of which has to be taxes, which we'll jump into right now. Now, as I'm sure you know, San Antonio has no state income tax.
All right, all right, all right.
Thing about it though is if they're not going to tax you on income, they got to find other ways to make up revenue. And in the state of Texas, what you're going to find are higher sales tax and property taxes. So basically, it's looking like they're taxing us on consumption. Now, you don't really feel, at least in my opinion, the sales tax a whole lot. It's about 8.25% on everything that you buy. So for every $100 you're spending, whether it's at the grocery store, the gas pumps, wherever, retail sales, you're looking at about $8.25 for every $100 that you spend. So again, you don't really feel it there a whole lot. The thing that a lot of people really take notice of are the property taxes when they move to Texas. So we do have some higher property taxes than some of the other places in the country. Now in Bexar County, you're looking at property taxes being about 1.987%. If you actually move into the city of San Antonio, not in the county, your taxes are going to be quite a bit higher. You're looking at about 2.74%. That's really a difference of about 28% or so on your house payment because of taxes. And so for that reason alone, taxes are a real big conversation that we have with people when they're looking at moving here, especially if you're either in retirement or you're looking at nearing retirement, say in the next 5 years, 6 years or so. Taxes become a big part of the conversation because you can get to a point where your home is paid for and yet that tax bill is not going to go away from you. So let's look at how some of that might impact you as far as the median price here in the area. If you take the average sale price on a home is about $250,000. If you're putting 6% down, it's about 15 grand, which means your mortgage is probably going to be about $230,000. Now, interest rates today, spring of 2020, they're about 3.5%. So that could change. Of course, if you want to know what they are when you're watching this, go ahead, shoot me a message. I'll send it to you. But in that scenario, you're looking at a mortgage payment with principal and interest of about $1,055 a month. Throw in insurance, that's about another $100 a month, maybe $1,200 a year. And then, of course, we got to talk about property taxes. Tax rate in San Antonio is about 2.74%, which means on a $250,000 house, your taxes are probably going to be about $6,850 a year. Take that out, divide that out by 12 months, and you're looking at about $570.83. Add all that stuff up together, and you're looking at a mortgage payment of about $1,745 a month on that house. Now, something to just think about here is that your property taxes, if you look at the cost of those taxes relative to your total payment on the house, property taxes on that house is going to run you roughly about a third of what your payment's going to be every single month. So it's just something you kind of have to think about. Okay, so we've talked about the price of a home and what it's going to cost you monthly, whether you're buying it or you're renting it, how property taxes and everything plays into that. Now, what's it going to cost you to heat and cool this thing? Our average cost for utilities is still well below the national average. We're looking at about 95% of what most people are paying in this country. So what's that mean for your electricity bill every single month? Well, it kind of depends. If you're like me, I like it really cold in my house. You might have a slightly higher bill than most other people. Now me, I really like to keep it like around 70 degrees. I don't care what time of year it is. That just feels real nice to me. Now we've got a thermostat war that goes on between my house. My wife is cold all the time. I'm hot all the time. Across the year, it's probably gonna run you about $150 a month on a regular sized home that we talked about earlier. The average water bill in San Antonio is gonna be about $50 a month. Finally, if we're gonna talk about the thing that's really important, we've got high-speed internet. You're looking maybe somewhere around 50 to 60 bucks a month. Overall though, when you take it all, you add it up together, on top of your housing cost for living there every single month, you're gonna have utility bills somewhere in the neighborhood of maybe about $250, $300 a month, depending on the size of the home you're in. Now we can talk about one of my favorite topics. You're working hard, and what are you doing that for? I mean, you really want to enjoy yourself. Let's talk about the food scene here in San Antonio. Now, before my family and I moved here, we'd actually vacation at least a few times a year. Most restaurants that you go to, you sit down, there's a wait staff. Those kind of spots, you're looking at entrees that are usually in about the $12 to $15 range. You throw an appetizer in there that's usually like $8 to $10. And for most restaurants, you can usually get out of there for roughly about $40, $50. The place where it really hits you though is we've got some of the best beer, wine, spirits all over Texas, right here in San Antonio. You want to throw a cocktail in there, most house drinks are roughly in like the $8, maybe $10 range. But if you like to step it up and go to maybe some of the top shelf stuff, I'm really a fan of Don Julio. You start throwing a couple of drinks in there and then it's real tough to get out of one of those spots for less than about $65. That's really for a couple that's just two people going out to eat, having a good time. Now, if you've got kids and you bring them with you, if they can eat on the kids menu, you're probably in pretty good shape. You might jump out of there for maybe like $70, $80, something like that. But if your kids get a little bit older like mine and they want to order off of the adult menu, even though they don't finish all their Parmesan chicken, my family and I, family of four, we can't seem to get out of a spot like that for less than $100. Now, that's not everywhere, but if you want to go out to eat as a family, you can be expecting to be somewhere in the 80 to maybe $100 range on a full course meal. And that's including dessert, because they always want dessert. Now, obviously, if you're making food from home, you're going to be saving a ton of money. And as far as our food costs with grocery stores here in San Antonio, we're sitting at about 91% of the national average. So buying food from grocery stores here is actually pretty inexpensive for the most part. We've got the normal stuff. We've got the Walmarts, Targets, Costco's. We've got Sam's Clubs. There's even a couple of Whole Food store in some of the really nice places in San Antonio. But the thing that we've got here in Texas that you don't have anywhere else, we've got our own grocery store. Hence the red shirt. I wore this shirt just so I could talk about HEB. Now, HEB is Texas owned, and I'm gonna keep it real. I didn't really understand what everybody was talking about and why everybody was so hyped up about HEB. I can still remember the first time I went to like a river float parade down on the Riverwalk in San Antonio, and the float comes by for HEB, and people start losing their mind. They're just chanting, HEB, HEB, HEB. And I'm standing there like, I thought to myself, when I moved to San Antonio, I'm gonna go check this HEB place out and see what it is. I can still remember the first week when I moved to San Antonio and I went to go to visit HEB. I walked in there and I had my mind blown. Now, if you're from San Antonio, you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, whenever you get to San Antonio, make a trip to HEB. I promise you it'll change your life. Okay, family, so that right there was really just kind of like a broad stroke overview of what the cost of living is like here in San Antonio, Texas. Overall, we're sitting at about 90% of the national average. With all the jobs, all the growth, all the people, all the new communities here in the area, people find themselves really able to afford a really nice lifestyle. Depending on where you want to live based on work, on a vibe that you're looking for, different areas have different costs, and there's different pockets of really cool stuff here and there everywhere. So if there's some parts of town that you want some more information on, or if you're researching a few things and you want to dig deeper into what it's like to be there, I'd suggest you just reach out to me. We absolutely love getting phone calls. People are calling us almost every day who are looking at moving and relocating to the area. So if you want to get some more insight into what's going on out here, and you want somebody on the ground who's researching this stuff, who lives it on a daily basis, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. However you want to get a hold of me, I got your back. We're moving to San Antonio, Texas.